Welcome back to From Fear to Fun, the podcast where we explore how to transform medical encounters with children from moments of fear into opportunities for fun, with connection, confidence, and cooperation. I'm so glad that you are here. Today's episode looks at the process of communication, and we explore how this is far more complex than we like to believe. We imagine communication as clean and efficient, but in reality, it is messy, noisy, and full of gaps. Let's explore why. For a moment, imagine a world where communication works perfectly. The sender only speaks, the recipient only listens, everything said is self-explanatory, everything is heard, everything is understood exactly as intended. A world where 100% information is transferred without distortion. It would be wonderfully efficient, but it does not exist. Not in medicine, not in life, not anywhere. In reality, communication is flawed at every step. Information gets lost, interpretations differ, meaning shifts, context interferes, and in the previous episode, we explored how the same fact can lead to completely different interpretations depending on a person's concept of reality. And in the consultation room, this becomes even more complicated. Because while the parent and the child are physically with us, they are mentally somewhere else entirely. Every patient and every parent arrives with a storyline already running in their mind. And in pediatrics, we don't just have one storyline, we have at least three: the parent storyline, the child storyline, and the doctor storyline, all happening simultaneously. The noise in their minds may include worries, assumptions, fears, distractions, misunderstanding, and unrelated life stress. These noises keep competing with our voice, and our voice must be louder than the patient's voice within, without even raising our volume. Parents and children bring assumptions about illness, danger, responsibility, guilt, what doctors do, and what might happen next. And their assumptions are not always the same. A child may fear pain. A parent may fear a diagnosis. Both may fear judgment. These inner narratives shape how they hear us and how much they can absorb. So how do we punch through the noise? How do we move from the real world of communication more towards the ideal? If we want to influence the inner storyline of parents and children, we must first understand what that storylines might be. Of course, we cannot read minds. Clairvoyance was not part of medical school. But the good news is, parents, children, and doctors tend to have predictable patterns of thought. These patterns repeat across consultations. They can be anticipated, and once we understand them, we can communicate more effectively. I will explore these predictable thought patterns in the upcoming episode, Perception of the Consultation. In a nutshell, the ideal of perfect communication does not exist. Real communication is full of noise, distortion, and competing storylines. Parents and children arrive with worries, assumptions, and distractions. Our current communication strategies often fail because they ignore this mental background noise. To communicate effectively, we must understand the inner narrative running in the minds of the patients and their parents. Thanks for joining me on this episode From Fear to Fun. In our next episode, we'll have a look at another basic feature of healthcare, the role of change. Until then, keep noticing, keep wondering, and keep moving from fear to fun.